If you're buying or selling a house, odds are the contract will contain a paragraph that deals with a home inspection. And the way home inspections get negotiated are often determined at the time the contract's written. In fact, sometimes it's determined before the contract is written, in that a seller will say, I am selling the property strictly as is, where is, not doing a thing to it. And that is a form of early negotiation. It doesn't mean that a buyer can't inspect the house, and a smart buyer will certainly have the right to back out of the contract if there's something in there that they can't live with, given the fact that it's being sold strictly as is. So sometimes terms are determined up front, or a seller will set forth, hey, although there are no known defects, the fireplace, the flue, the chimney, the appliances, all the outbuildings, they're being sold as is. It's a way of a seller saying up front, take a look at them if you want, but don't ask us to do a thing to them, because what you see is what you get. Otherwise, a contract will provide the opportunity for a buyer to have a home inspection. They'll pay a person to inspect it from top to bottom. If defects are found, they will have the right, in most situations, to ask the seller to either have them repaired by a qualified professional or give the buyer a credit so that they can do so afterwards. Some contracts will give the buyer the right to just back out of the contract if there's nothing, if there are things that they just can't live with and that they just don't want to even ask the seller to fix, they can just back out. Other contracts will require that the purchaser at least make an offer of the seller. Say, these are my findings and this is what I want. In other words, they can't just unilaterally back out of the contract. They have to give the seller the opportunity to make things right. So when it comes to negotiating whatever those findings are, a buyer might ask for the seller to have things fixed. The buyer might ask for the seller to give them a monetary credit, usually in the form of paying some of the buyer's closing costs, which will free up cash for the buyer to have these things addressed themselves. So they could ask either way, a credit or the actual repairs, or a combination. Hey, I want a new roof put on the house, and instead of you fixing the furnace, give me a $2,000 credit and I'll take care of that myself. So there's some back and forth, and for a seller, what's going to be most important oftentimes is their bottom line. How much will I have left over after I give this credit? A concern of the seller might be, how will I have this repair made? Okay, a good realtor will know some excellent contractors who can make this easy for a seller, can get the seller some estimates, and if the seller gives the green light, that attorney can, that realtor can even have the work done, coordinate getting it done for the seller by the time of closing. But it usually works out. There's some give and some take. Sometimes it doesn't, but the majority of the time it does. And if you have a realtor with lots of experience in navigating these waters, odds are everything will be well. Set your expectations early, what you're willing to do, not willing to do. Again, your realtor will help you think through that, take a great approach, and get it done for you.